Less than 40% of Aussies actually voted for The Voice. Let's have a look. Good evening everyone, Florian here and welcome to another episode of Heiser Says. Grab your hashtag not sponsored cheap coffee and well, let's have a look at an article which is warning about the outcomes or the consequences of this failure of the Voice referendum. But before we do, I just want to bring up the latest results, that is on news.com.au, because less than 40% of Aussies voted for this. Hey, let's just hope that the yes vote is higher than the primary vote for Labour. What do you reckon? It might not be. Oh, we'll have to see, but yeah, it's now below 40%, 39.41% yes, 60.59% voted no. And if we can see on this map here, you can see where we'll turn off the no's. Oh, wait. We'll turn on the yeses. I don't know what this filter's working. Well, you can see here where you've got a yes here in Franklin, in Tasmania, the ACT, inner city. This map isn't working very well. Inner city Melbourne. Great. I can't even work the map. Inner city Melbourne, inner city Sydney, inner city Brisbane. It really feels like a significant divide between everyone else in Australia. Oh, sorry, and inner city Perth. Probably Darwin as well. We'll have to check. We'll have to see. Hang on. Wait a minute. We'll look. Where is it? Northern Territory. Nope. No. And no. Both electorates in Northern Territory. What about Solomon? Yes. There you go. Northern Territory is no. What about Western Australia? Let's have a look at some in Western Australia. What are we going to look at? See, the problem is these names of electorates often don't mean anything. Like, I'm in Moreton, and we're nowhere near Moreton Bay anymore. They just keep moving over as more people moved in, and they have to chop up the electorates. But anyway, well, we can have a look here. There you go. Perth, yes, 55%. Inner city Perth, oh boy. Curtin, barely yes at 50.71%. Australians didn't want this, guys. Aussies didn't want this. Nowhere in the country. Have a look here. There we go. Durack, 72% no. All the electorates with significant Indigenous populations aren't getting high votes. Well, look at that. 80%. What about up north? 65%. Yeah, I'm not surprised someone in the regions doesn't want to create another body that's going to be central to speak on their behalf again. You know, you've already got everyone in this part of Queensland feels like we ignore them. That only southeast corner is all that exists in Queensland. You know, there are other parts of Queensland. So, I mean, there you go, guys. Less than 40%. Now, what is the fallout of this going to be? If you live on Twitter, it's quite... the vitriol between people in the different camps is... it's been quite disgusting. It really feels like social media is exacerbating a lot of the worst behavior among people. You're getting a lot of people just attacking each other, just ferociously. Things they would never say in person, but they do, probably because it's anonymous online. I mean, I shouldn't complain too much. I've received hate letters and emails and threats because I discuss property. First one I ever got was because we did a proposal to replace all the city cycle parking in the city with smart car parking. I got hate mail for that. I wish I had kept it. I should have framed it. There you go. So let's have a look at this article from Reuters, everyone. Australia's decision to deny constitutional recognition to its First Peoples could herald a more divisive Trump-style politics. What's Trump-style politics? Effective? Having leaders that aren't riddled with dementia like they have right now? Anyway, at the next national election, while pushing the Prime Minister to pivot to cost-of-living issues, some analysts said. My understanding is that Albanese is now going to be focusing on net zero. Net zero. We've got a housing crisis. We've got a cost of living crisis. I was complaining to the lady. I've got my 7-Eleven coffee there I bought before I decided to record tonight. I was complaining to her how it's gone over $2, and she was just lamenting the fact she was discussing with a friend how much everything else has gotten. So how many Australians do you think actually give a shit about net zero? Do you think it's going to be exactly the same as this outcome? The inner city people who, my electorate, we just got over no. But we've got quite a mix actually in my electorate. There's a Muslim quarter, an Asian quarter, and then you got the inner city bloody hipster quarter a bit further up. And you've got a whole bunch of, old factories and working class houses in between. So it is quite a mix. It could go either way. But I wonder if this is just showing you, to me, this is just showing us how out of touch our leaders and the ACT are with the rest of Australians. And honestly, it's probably because they do not have the day-to-day challenges that a lot of Aussies have. Because, frankly, they probably have more money, more opportunities, more kickbacks, they've got it easier. I mean, you don't know until you see some of the perks some civil servants get. You've got no idea. And they go to the private sector and they're shocked that they have to work. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese misread the public mood, analysts said on Sunday, as he took responsibility for the referendum result, in which only the national capital voted yes from among 8 states and territories. More than 60% of Australians voted no to altering the Constitution to recognise Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people through the creation of an Indigenous advisory body. While Albanese said he respected the decision and his government would seek a new way forward, some analysts saw the Conservative opposition buoyed by its success in opposing the landmark vote. Yes, it felt like we actually had a Conservative opposition that stood for something that simply wasn't Labor light. Okay, this is what you want. Okay, you want them to stand for something. Now, I know people... Here's the thing. I'm glad most Australians realise we weren't voting on do you want to help Aboriginal people or not. Because most Australians want everyone to have a fair bloody go. I think that goes without saying. What we were voting on is adding this appendage, this leech, to our government bureaucracy that many of us probably realise wouldn't make that much difference in the long run and would be a nightmare to get rid of, or impossible to get rid of. The same leaders who failed their people for how long? The gap still exists. For Albanese, the referendum loss would be a personal as well as a political blow. He's very committed to equity for First Nations people, said Chris Wallace, a specialist in political history and leadership at the University of Canberra. He's now expected to pivot to addressing cost of living issues pressing on voters, which had made it harder to win the referendum, she added. It was insane. This is $500 million or $450 million is pissed away on that. What do we got? 10.5 million households in the country? There's your power bill discount they were going to give you. That's what they spent it on. I'm liking how they're dropping the line. I'm seeing in the news, this is the referendum Australia didn't need to have. We didn't need it. This is a waste of money. How long is it going to take us to pay this money back? How many years of tax burden will this incur? How many failed referendums have Labor racked up over the years, trying to reshape the nation in their image? It's this type of experience that you go through. You've got to learn. These people don't give a shit about you, okay? They're ideologically, they're driven. So maybe take that into account the next time you vote. Australia had rejected the Prime Minister's referendum, said opposition party leader Peter Dutton, adding that his Conservative Liberal Party would look to form policies to take to the next election due in 2025. Dutton had opposed the referendum to cement his political position and showed himself to be an effective, even superior campaigner, said Mark Kenny, a professor at the Australian National University. He's going after the blue-collar Labor base in suburbs and regions, informed by the teachings of Trump and Farage, Kenny added. Sure he is. Or maybe he's trying to get Howard's battlers back. Remember that? Yeah, I don't think people don't seem to, do they? Trump really lives rent-free in the minds of all of these people, doesn't he? Australia may be in for a much more aggressive and divided style of politics seen in the US and UK. We already are. It's already that. It's already like that. Just the normies haven't realised that they're waking up to it. I mean, look at the Greens. Publicly supporting Palestinian protesters that are calling for, what, genocide? Supporting terrorists. There you go, that's the Greens. In power. Not completely in power, but in Parliament, I should say. Albanese made an error of judgment in pursuing a referendum that lacked cross-parliamentary support. As Liberal coalition partner, the Nationals opposed it a year ago, said Kenny, who's with the university's Australian Studies Institute. Elected in '96, Albanese saw the failure of the '99 referendum for Australia to become a republic. Despite that experience as a lawmaker, he squandered it, misreading the mood spectacularly, Kenny said. Has he ever had a real job? Maybe we need to go to the Republic or Utopia. The elected leaders don't get paid. They only get a certain period in there. What do you think? No referendum has passed in Australia without bipartisan backing. Moderate voters abandoned the Liberal Party at last year's election, switching to so-called teal independent candidates in key inner-city seats and installing a Labor government for the first time in 9 years. And I suspect they'll start to realise how futile that was. Hopefully we'll get a Liberal or a coalition with some balls at the next election. And we'll have some real choice. Analysis of Saturday's referendum results showed outer metropolitan suburbs in the most populous state of New South Wales and Victoria voted no, while the inner city seats that switched from Liberal to Independent last year voted yes. Of course they did. Of course they're probably... There's such a divide. You know, the Aboriginal people I know here in the city, many of them are professionals, highly successful, running businesses. They don't need a voice, okay? They've got one, they've got political power, they've got wealth, they're doing well. So it makes you wonder, why are the people in the regions not voting for this? Probably because they've got no confidence in it. It feels like a lot of virtue signaling. Dutton may not try to win back these TL seats at the next election, Kenny said, adding that almost all of Labor's rural and outer suburb working class seats voted no. Well, you just got to... If they just say, okay, we'll back nuclear and coal, we're not abandoning our coal miners in Australia. There you go, boom. What's Labor going to say? Net zero all the way. On Sunday, Nationals lawmaker Bridget McKenzie criticised yes voters as very privileged, highly educated Australians in wealthy suburbs. Former Liberal Prime Minister Tony Abbott, who will join the board of Foxcorp next month, praised Dutton's courageous campaign against the referendum in an interview with Sky News. He said what had been rejected was a change in the system of government, not the Aboriginal people. However, Simon Banks, managing director of government relations firm Hawker Britton and former chief of staff to 3 Labor leaders, wonder if he's biased, said there would not be calls for Albanese to... there are calls for Albanese to resign. And Dutton instead had the biggest political problem. He added Dutton has to make the task for Liberal parties to recover the so-called teal seats significantly harder. Meanwhile, national opinion polls show no significant adverse electoral impact for Labor. We'll see. Just wait. The latest news poll published on Friday, well, no, that's before the loss. Who cares? Okay? He's lost now. He's a loser. Remember that. The Liberals' wrecking ball campaign was easy to run. To win the next election, we'll have to replace Dutton with a more likeable leader. Well, there's options for that. What if Dutton was running with Price as a deputy? Or they can't do that. She's not, well, country Nationals, country Liberals, but she's in... We'll have to see. Anyway, let's have a chat about this one, guys. There you go. Is this the future of Australia? More divisive politics? Yeah, honestly, that's where it's heading. I'd blame social media. I blame a whole young generation that's pissed off and really doesn't know what they're talking about. Has to live a bit more and get a bit more experience. Maybe let their brains finishing develop. It's a harsh reality. I mean, come on. The youngest, least experienced people are voting for the most interventionist socialist policies because they're the youngest and the least experienced. You grow out of it. Or you make a career of it. So, well, frankly, I'm very happy with this result. I would have been quite concerned if we had got up. And I think it's a good sign for Australia that sensibility and common sense won. We'll have to see how this plays out the next election. And let's hope Albanese doesn't double down on his net zero and actually addresses or tries to address some of the cost of living and issues that are impacting average Aussies. Because if he doesn't, shit, this is going to be a one-term Labor government. This has been their first year. What have they done? How much have they squandered on this? $450 million. Could have been some houses. It wouldn't have made much difference, but it would have been something. $500 million you could have put more into housing. Isn't that all it took to get the Greens on board? Oh well. It's politics, everyone. It's politics. We'll have to see what happens moving forward. So, let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one. And thank you to everyone who joined me for the live stream yesterday. They called the bloody thing so early. It was pretty much watching me struggle with my streaming software and eat some awesome chicken meatballs. That was bloody good. Take care. Have a great night. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Oh, there's the outro. Check out Heiser BIM or Heiser Does if you want to see other videos. I will be putting some content on there. Just been flat out, guys. I'm doing insane hours right now. You can tell how busy I am with the number of videos I managed to put out and if I'm drinking the store-bought coffee. Okay? And this isn't the $2 one. This is the $3 one. My coffee costs to make an episode have gone up 300%. This is what happens with Albo and Power. See, they said it won't be easy under Albanese. Anyway, check out, if you want to support us, you can on YouTube or Patreon. Use the referral links. Buy the pocket squares or call me if you need an architect. Take care. Have a great day. I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.